part of that influence is to say that all things are equal. And if all things are equal, then the insight that comes from a sister that I might know in the rougher part of South Jersey is equal to, an Ivy League dropout that comes from a trust fund that I met in Silicon Valley a handful of years ago. So kind of leveling the playing ground and realizing that anyone can bring that kind of insight. It doesn't have to be from a particular culture. In fact, if it is from different cultures, that makes things all the richer.
Yeah, and your ability, as well as anyone else's ability to draw these parallels is I would say, a skill of observation in itself, because you have had the opportunity to occupy these various spaces that other people may or may not have the opportunities to occupy. But not only do you do that, you take from it, you observe, and you're drawing parallels that really help to build new things. When we look at innovation, essentially that's what innovation is, which is what you spoke to, is, okay, I'm going to take a little bit from here, scratch that up, mix that up a little bit. Next thing you know, we have a remix and the crowd is going wild, right? So, I mean, that for me, I look at it as the art of curation as well. I know you said when it comes to storytelling, it's not only about telling our story, but there's so many stories that we can help to curate. And through curation, it's then amplified, right? Through our platform, through other people's platforms. So that's a space that I've always enjoyed playing in. And that's really what excites me. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. I think it gets into my favorite word nowadays is cross-pollination.
Yeah.
Right? You think about a bee, and bees don't make honey by just sitting on a flower and then just biding time. They take from one flower and then they fly to another flower, and then that's all they do all summer. And I think it's the same type of energy. But what we don't realize is that we're actually the flowers. We don't realize that we have to put our hat in the ring. We have to, as Brene Brown says, we have to get in the arena.
Yeah.
Otherwise it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Like, the powers that be, mainstream media, whatever umbrella we might seem to feel like that, whatever umbrellas we feel like aren't recognizing us, aren't giving us a seat at the table, they might not recognize that something's missing. But we recognize something's missing. And we can get agitated about it. We can get frustrated. We can get angry. And that's where a lot of that frustration comes from, because we feel like we're not having our say. And I'm hoping with my material, whether it's I have my Bring Your Worst show at youtube.com/Brown Damon. I have like 3 shows I run every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I do that. I do the ink column at inkdamonbrown.com. I have my books. I do my keynotes. I do my one-on-one coaching. That's really the simple mission of it, is to say, other people might not see your value, but you can't forget it. Like you have to keep that flame going and find a way to create. And I know you understand this, where there's never been a better time in the history of mankind to get your stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a gift and a curse. I'm not saying it's easy, because everybody and their mother has a book now, but so I've been doing books long enough where like doing a book was like a big deal. Now it's like, oh, okay, I was going to put out a book. So there is way more. It's a way more cluttered market. So I'm not saying it's nirvana, and I'm not saying it's easy to get it to the right people. What I am saying though is that if you want your voice to be out there, you can do it. And I'm trying to kind of get all of us on that bandwagon and be like, we don't have to wait for a seat at the table. Like we can make our own table. I'm not waiting for CBS to give me a TV show. I started one in December. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, just get started. I feel like I'm Dame Dash now, but just get started.
I mean, let's speaking of Dame Dash, I'm literally looking at Google Keep right now, jotting some things down as I'm listening. Channeling and overcoming rejection and being shut down. It's something we all face. We're all bound to face. We don't all respond to it the same way. Some people, they go in, Kobe, 4 a.m. in the gym, lost a playoff game, back at it, right? Not trying to lose again. Other people may shut down, not want to talk to anyone, not really want to do anything. We all cope in different ways. But when we look at movements like Rockefeller, right, specifically not getting a label deal, all right, no label deal, we'll start one ourselves, right? What are your thoughts as it pertains to channeling and overcoming rejection and being shut down?
I think you have to realize why you're doing it. And we can circle back to the Rockefeller thing. As you mentioned, I quoted Jay-Z a few times in there. I got a chance to interview him many, many years ago. I'm a big fan of his. I've been watching his moves like forever. So we can talk about that in a minute if you want.
Cool.
But it really has to do with why you're doing it. Here's a simple example that I use. I actually don't like being on the stage. At least I didn't. And I'm a paid keynote speaker now. I've done 4 TED Talks. It's like I have a TV show. It's like, how does that work? I'm an introvert. I'd rather be, just chilling out with my kids and in my inner circle. Anyone that really knows me knows that. And so it's like, so how? Why would you do that? And one of the biggest insights I got from early mentorship when I started speaking was to say the best way to deal with stage fright is that the value of your message and the impact that you're going to make on the individuals outweighs any type of personal discomfort you have. So, you know what I mean? So if it's like I've spoken to audience where it's 1,000 people, I've spoken to audiences where it's like literally 3 people, some of my early book signings. Talk about a humbling experience. But knowing that I could say one gem, as we say, one line, one hot line that would transform one of the people in the audience out of my hour-long talk, one hot line that would change the course of their life for the better, right? If I focus on that, then I'm present. Then I can organize the butterflies in my stomach and, as they say, have them fly in formation. And I think about that every single time. I'm like, well, I better show up for this. If you think about, Dame, you talk about Jay-Z, and you talk about Biggs, the trifecta there at the time. Think about how many entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs and brown entrepreneurs, that they inspired just with their journey.
Yeah.
But if they were like, nah, but Jay-Z, and I think we have to give credit to the other 2 as well, big time, they knew they had something particular to say. But that would be probably the second part of dealing with rejection is, who are you trying to talk to? Is your customer the VC who won't call you back? Is your customer the open mic person who won't let you be on the open mic? I used to go out with a comedian, so I'm familiar a little bit with that lifestyle.
Got it.
It's like, and the same thing with rappers, I'm sure. It's like, is that your customer? Or is your customer the people who are going to be listening to your music? Is your customer the people who are going to be using your app and making their life better because of it? Is your customer the people who are going to read your writing and get inspired by it?
Yeah.
I mean, just to be clear, like, I have my own imprint. So I did like the traditional publishing. Built From Now is my 25th book. So my first 18 or so books were with traditional publishers in New York and on the West Coast a little bit later on. And most of them were great. But at a certain point, my vision was longer than theirs.